Okay, welcome to the regular council meeting. The date is Tuesday, December the 2nd, 2025. The time is 7:02. We've just moved from the closed portion or recessed the closed portion of the meeting. There's nothing to report out at this time. We'll reconvene the closed portion at the end of the open. With that, we'll move to item number 4, which is the adoption of the agenda. Any amendments, changes?
Got one item from the closed meeting moved to open.
Okay, that's item 7.1. So we'll move that into the open. Mr. Blackwell, any suggestion on where you'd like that placed?
I would recommend that this go under council reports. You could have, put it there, you put it under unfinished business, or business or business, new business or business arising. We have a few options that could fit under any of those.
Okay. Was 10.3?
10.3.
10.3.
Okay.
All right, any other changes, amendments? Okay,
Is that 10.5 is a duplication, is it, of 10.1.6?
If I may, yes.
yes.
I'm sorry about that.
You just strike that off.
So 10.5, we can
Okay.
remove it from the agenda.
Unless,
Terrific.
of course, council wishes
We've
to
abbreviated.
discuss it twice.
It's so good, I'm going to oppose that.
That's kept.
Okay.
Just on principle.
On principle.
Yeah.
All right, any other amendments? No, okay. All right, I will also would like to add back previous motion, which was defeated. So I'd like to add that back. That was that staff conduct a 30-day rolling review of closed minutes and reports and bring forward items for public release with redactions where lawful, once confidentiality is no longer required. So I would like to bring that motion back under the mayor's ability to reassess a motion. So we'll add that, and we could add that right into below 7.1.
Point of order.
Mhm.
The mayor gets to ask for a reconsideration or a re-vote within 30 days. He doesn't get to bring things back that were defeated. It's not the same thing.
Mr. Blackwell?
To the best of my knowledge, a mayor has the privilege of bringing any matter back for
Reconsideration.
reconsideration.
Okay.
Within 30 days.
Within 30.
Yes.
Okay, so I can read the statute if Councillor Abbott wishes. Without limiting the authority of council to reconsider a matter, a mayor may require council to reconsider and vote again on a matter that was subject of a vote. As restrictions and authority under section 35.1, the mayor who voted in the mayor and council member who voted in majority may initiate reconsideration under this section. So I am initiating a reconsideration. Do we have a second for that?
Sorry, Johnny, point of clarity. Were you in the majority? Were you in the majority of the defeated vote?
I was the one
No,
who put forward the.
No, but you were not in the majority, so you cannot bring it back.
No.
Read it again, please.
Mr. Blackwell?
You catch me flat-footed, I would need to have it, the language right in front of me, I don't have that in the.
There's two parts.
There's two parts to that. I
There's
was
two parts, the
thinking,
mayor
so
or the
perhaps-
people in the majority
Yeah.
to bring it back. There's two parts.
So once again, this
We
is
read on
a
our-
motion to have information that is lawfully permitted to be disclosed to the public, disclosed on a 30-day rolling average. This was defeated. I'm asking that it come back for a
Correct.
reconsideration.
Yeah, just to clarify, so it says the mayor or the council member. So they're two separate things, and
Yeah,
how it's
that's true.
written, it's, you can sort of smush those together, but it's the mayor or the council member who voted in the majority. Two separate entities.
Yeah.
But the way it's written, I could see how it may convey that applies in there, but it doesn't.
Okay, so we'll add that below 7.1. Any other amendments, changes?
That's 7.1.
So that'll be 7.1 or 7.2. You can do that 7.1.
Perhaps resolutions 11.1.
We've already put it, I think, under 11.1, was it?
So it's approved minutes.
Yeah, 7.1 is
Yeah,
approval. of
yeah,
minutes.
this is Blackwell.
Does it relate to any of the minutes on the agenda, the 4th or the 18th or the 20th? Because if it does, you could put it under section 8, business arising from minutes.
I think we should put it with the other motion. They're very similar. They're both to disclose information to the public. So, sure.
So that would be under 10.3, mayor and council.
10.3, okay.
Okay,
Okay, any other amendments?
so consider.
No, all in favor with amendments?
Sorry,
Opposed? Motion carried.
we don't have a mover and a seconder for,
For the minutes,
no, for the agenda.
for the agenda.
Okay, do we have a mover? Councilor Broughton, seconded. Do we have a
Second.
Second, Councilor Conlon.
There you
Okay,
go, Jamie.
thank you. Okay, with that, we will move to public participation. Anyone in the gallery wish to speak? Anyone online, Crystal, wish to speak?
No hands.
Okay, we'll move to item 7.1, the approval of November 4th, 2025 minutes. We have a mover for that. Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second. We have a seconder,
One second.
seconded by Councilor Abbott. Any amendments, changes?
Yeah, I do. On page 8. It says council endorsed municipal office Christmas closure for December 23rd to 24th, 30th and 31st, and January 2nd. Office resuming regular operation hours on Monday the 5th. It's not actually what we did. We said, I don't think we prescribed the office needs to be open those days. We said we were only going to compensate staff for a maximum of 4 days,
Correct.
but we didn't say the office must be closed.
We allowed the operation.
I would have to double check the language, but my recollection was.
Yeah, we said the closure is fine, but up to a maximum of 4 days to compensate.
Yeah, but the
Yes.
closure period council endorsed.
The closure period was changed now.
No, it's the same closure period. That's right. Anyway. Same closure period. Monday,
Actually, the 22nd to 24th.
Yeah, it's been changed.
so it would be,
Closure period should have just been from the 23rd to the 2nd.
so it was gonna be the 22nd, reopening on the 5th.
Correct. That's what it should read.
Sorry, I mean, am I missing something? That's what.
That's what that says?
Yeah, 22nd to 24th, and then December 29th. The actual.
Well, it's best just to call it the whole,
Okay,
Well,
I can
22nd.
change that.
reopening
On the 5th.
on the
Yeah, that's what it read previously.
same thing, but it's just clearer.
Okay, any other amendments?
No, not an amendment.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, motion to approve the November 18th, 2025 minutes.
So done.
Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second by Councilor Broughton. Amendments? Okay, call a question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, motion to approve the November 20th, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second by
Second.
Councilor Broughton. Amendments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Business arising from minutes, none. Councilor Adam, you had your hand up?
Page 16, there's an action there. To make sure that goes in the unfinished business file. Action items here to outline DCCs and CACs. Or is that part of what this document we got today? Is that what that was?
That's-
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
That's a staff report on this agenda.
Okay, so this was addressed. Okay, so it's part of the staff report. Okay, all right. And then one other matter. Just want to draw council's attention to starting on page 9. There's these
9,
page 9. Yeah.
okay.
There's several motions that were carried around the electrical vehicle or the CAC recommendations. Right, and one of them was that the cost of electric vehicles associated infrastructure, we referred to staff for a report, which we got. And then it says additional costs over proposed staff request for additional gasoline vehicle cost incurred by replacement of the bylaw F-150 with the small electric vehicle be drawn from the local government climate action program. So I just want to draw people's attention. That motion was carried. If you look at the budget, there isn't a specific budget item in. There's a budget item for the F-150 being replaced. But there isn't a specific budget item for those additional costs that we intend to draw from the LG cap. Though there's an understanding, if we get to the resolution, that's where they would come from. Is that an issue? Or do we need to pick a number and add it to the budget? Because we did discuss it this year.
Mr. Blackwell.
That's a good question. Thankfully, our financial officer is here who might be able to speak to that.
It's my understanding that we went through that discussion that the replacement of the Public Works F-150 would not go through. That would the existing truck that's being used by bylaw would use to replace that aging truck. And then we'd explore opportunities to use or purchase a Kia or something like that as an electric vehicle as an operator.
Yeah, so there's a budget item for $35,000, which we now allocated to the electric vehicle, right? But there's no budget item for the other infrastructure stuff that we agreed around that issue. So do we need to add to the budget that allocate an amount of $50,000 from the LG cap money to be used on this resolution?
Okay, Mr. Blackwell.
I'll defer to Mr. Cherkoff on that. I don't think so. So long as that LG cap money is there for that purpose and there's sufficient in there.
I think that's understood.
How council chooses to avail itself of that money is, it doesn't have to be sort of bucked up into line items in terms of how you spend it at this point.
Okay,
So long as
this is new business. If we have a motion put on the table, or a decision to be made, put forward here, just so we can get through this.
I was going to ask them to add a budget item to cover the costs of electrification, if you so choose, into the budget item.
Do we need a motion for that, Mr. Blackwell, or can we just look at adding that line item?
Depending on what Mr. Cherkoff says, so long as the money is in the account, council is free to draw down on that, if and when it chooses.
Yeah, a direction from council. The money is in our accounts. We've received that money, and it's available for spending on as we choose to. So it's not an increase in taxation or anything like that.
Even though it's not listed on the budget, it's spent for this next year. Okay, as long as I understand.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. I called the financial officer on this matter this afternoon. I asked one question. Is the 35 grand that was allocated for a new vehicle in the budget? He answered no. So it's not a budget item. So where I understand it was staff would find a way to obtain a vehicle through whatever other means at their disposal. So if that's to go through a different fund, that's for you to bring it forward to council.
Okay, Councilor Abbott.
Sorry, but I just looked at the budget earlier tonight and it's still got the line item for $35,000 in it.
My understanding through the mayor is that when our we went through our, what we're gonna keep in and cross out. The decision was to refer back to staff to provide a report regarding the use of LGCAP funds for a electric vehicle alternative. Perhaps that was not reflected in the historical budget items that are in there, but that was the direction from council to take it out and then use the existing truck to replace the truck that's in public works currently, and explore alternatives. And to Councillor Abbott's discussion that LGCAP funds would be used to supplement any additional cost over a normal F-150 or what have you, or a Kia or whatever it is. We set our staff report and then council would decide if you want to fund that or not. So the staff report is here in this agenda. If you'd like to go forward with purchasing that, that's great. It was kind of left with getting the staff report first.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, do you want to come back to council with any suggestions, or how do you want to handle it?
Well, so the council has yet to resolve the issue. The council will remember that it's received advice that it's best to stay out of the operational realm with regard to trying to influence or whatever sort of massage that what operations or what vehicles are required for operational purposes. If you will recall, it was stated that staff knows its operational requirements best, and that electric vehicle at this point in time doesn't work operationally. We do not have the size of the vehicle fleet and the redundancy and all of this stuff. And you will recall that I pointed out that it would be very difficult for me as the administrator to justify a vehicle dedicated to one staff person, a bylaw enforcement officer, for their exclusive use. That I financially would have a hard time with that. All of that led to then council saying report back. That report back to council is on this agenda. That's how it all unfolded. No decision thus far.
Okay, Councillor Abbott, any further comments before we move on?
I guess not, I'm just surprised that 35,000 is no longer in the budget, so I don't understand how that happens, but we'll just move on and
Okay,
we'll fall out at some
any
point.
further business arising? No, okay, we'll move to item 9.1, zoning and development bylaw number 520, 2017. The motion is that the zoning and development bylaw number 520, 2017 amendment bylaw number 641, 2025, short-term rentals be adopted. We have a motion for that. Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second by Councilor Broughton. Discussion.
Yeah, I put one discussion point, and I'll try to keep it different to everything else I've discussed before, so, and it is different. I still believe we do not clearly understand which sections of the policy that were removed are ultra vires. The term's been used several times, but it's been used as generally things are ultra vires. I still believe we should have gone back and got a firm understanding on that on a case-by-case basis. From the lawyer that gave us the first opinion when she first updated the policy. So I would like us to do that before we approve this bylaw, and at the same time, consider the residents' request that came up in the public hearing.
Okay, any other comments? Councilor Broughton?
I really heard loud and clear the residents' concerns as have been documented. And I've also heard that the bylaw that we had in place was not enforceable, and that the new bylaw gives us the capacity to enforce. Now, there's different opinions clearly on that, but our legal recommendation, as I understand it, is to clean up the bylaw, make it enforceable. And there's definitely lots of discussion that the community appears to want to be involved in with this. But it's a separate item from making the bylaw effective. And it was a concern that was raised by the municipal advisor. I've said this multiple times. A number of our bylaws are problematic. We've asked the CAO to address this. He's now addressing it, and I think that we need to move forward. They will not be perfect, but if there's issues that we're unhappy with, then we will have to address those. But in the meantime, we're not moving forward just in case sort of thing, and I don't think that's the best use of everyone's time. I think we need to get these bylaws cleaned up, and just the process of cleaning them up will identify issues that need to be imminently dealt with.
Okay, Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. The bylaw before us complies with provincial legislation, which it currently does not. There are structural definitions, which currently we don't have, and we have ambiguous language, which this corrects all that. I view this as a technical document, and I'm in favor of the bylaw. But in the dealing with this with the public, we're a population of about 1,400, more or less 14 people came forward. Fairly split between yes, no, and I don't think that's very good public engagement. I would see this as if along the lines where Mr. Broughton was going, we need to come back to the well on this one and see what our community actually thinks. I would see this would be a project for 2026.
Any other comments? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, Councilor Conlon, you were in favor?
Correct.
Okay, Councilor Abbott opposed. Okay, motion carried. Okay, item number 9.2, zoning development bylaw 520-2017, amendment bylaw number 650. The motion is that zoning development bylaw 520-2017, amendment bylaw number 650-2025 setbacks be adopted. Do we have a motion for that? Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second by Councilor Abbott. Discussion. Councilor Broughton.
Just to reiterate the point that was made in the last meeting, I think is a bit of a concern about the I can't remember what it's called for Brunswick, but the Brunswick override or overlay, something like that, just to acknowledge that continues to exist, my understanding.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
Thank you, through you. This is only a word change. This is changing it from front yard setback to the use of rear yards.
Right.
Other than that, there's no material change. It's just designed to reflect.
Same argument as the last bylaw. Thank you.
Okay,
Question?
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, the 9.3 2026 budget, the motion on the table is that the 2026 to 2030 5-year financial plan of bylaw number 655 2025 be granted the third reading. So we have a motion for that, moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second by Councilor Abbott. Discussion.
A question. So the actual 5-year plan is not here in this documentation, right? The actual 5 years. That's okay?
Mr. Blackwell.
I'll defer to Mr. Cherkoff on this, but I will simply say, in the vernacular of Lord of the Rings, you shall come this far and no further, or something like that. I hope that was the correct movie. In other words, council is not in position yet to take that forward. Mr. Cherkoff, do you want to fill in the blanks?
So there's been no change from the first and second readings. I've received no commentary from anybody regarding requested change in what was passed first and second. So this is simply granting a third reading. I don't have anything further.
5-year plan
The 5-year plan. Yeah.
That's right.
will come. When
No,
will it
we're
come?
approving.
I can.
We're adopting the 5-year plan tonight.
No,
No. Third reading.
third reading.
Fourth reading will be in April. We need the
So-
GDRD mill rates.
Okay, so we're doing third reading tonight, correct? Okay. I just thought it would be good form to have the document in front of you when you adopt it, when you're reading it. I've got one other point on Schedule B, page 50. We still refer to the gas tax funding. We don't have gas tax funding. We haven't had it for years. We should probably clean that up.
Okay, any other minutes? Council Brown?
So this gives us the capacity to move ahead. It'll guide staff in terms of expenditures and so on, but it is not the final budget. Adjustments can still be made.
Through you, adjustments can be made at any time. Council throughout the year can amend the bylaw should there be emergent issues, so it's never carved in stone. Excuse me, what this does allow though, is it allows staff now to get a jump start on planning with certainty, primarily for the key projects next year, which means in English, staff is able now to develop work plans for 2026 based on that certainty. Subject to change.
Yeah, something to change, but it's not written in stone at this point, yeah. But
Okay,
certainly.
call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, next item is capacity funding for local government housing initiatives, 9.3.1. Mr. Blackwell?
Thank you. Mr. Chertoff, feel free to jump in on this one. So there's an opportunity to use sort of artistic license to a degree with this money. This money has been received, this grant money has been received to the tune of 125,000.
155.
155. And it's primarily to deal with those legislative changes. So I'm thinking that, and what's included as eligible products is OCP work. And there's lots of room with regard to the artistic license that can be applied to the OCP work, so long as it ultimately deals with the legislation, which may apply maybe to Lions Bay. So what I'm seeking is some direction from council as to whether or not you would like us to utilize, rather than return this money, whether you would like us to figure out a way to capture as much of this money as possible to at least launch some piece of OCP work, upfront OCP work, and take advantage of this money, or return it all. Joe, did you have anything further on?
No, I've been in contact with the ministry. They would have hoped that we have spent it already by 2025. They are fine with us extending it into the next year. They are just asking that we get another report in 2027 regarding the use of those funds.
Mr. Blackwell, could these funds be used for visioning and some of the town halls that you discussed maybe launching that I think you had mentioned they may require some funding?
Correct. So to answer your question, to stay true to the limits associated with the funding, it would involve things like visioning around how we would accommodate more density, etc. If you can read between the lines without me having to sort of bring it out. And so we could take advantage, utilize this, some creativity to fold into the OCP.
Okay, Councilor McLaughlin, then Councilor Broughton, and Councilor Abbott.
Thank you very much. Certainly 2 years ago was way before my time, so it's been sitting in the kitty for a while. I'm gauging that Mr. Blackwell feels that his closet is getting empty of things to do, and this is being brought out. Clearly, we are not going to build housing for $150,000, and we are not going to supplement housing needs or build capacity. So I'm liking the idea that's being pitched here. And for the financial officer, we've got another year. I think that I like where Mr. Blackwell is going with this. Just put us in the bowling alley and see what we can do. I like where Mayor Barry was going too. If you hypothetically have 10 on the wish list and the province says you're good for 6 of them, well, that narrows it down. And if you could come back with that, that'd be great.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, then we'll go to Councilor Broughton.
Thank you. So through you to Councilor McLaughlin. So essentially what I'm looking for a nod for is for us to figure out how we can take advantage of this money and come back with a bit of a plan to say, here's what we think we can do and get away with legitimately to advance this OCP work and shave that chunk of money off. I mean, if we could shave $30,000 off, upfront work off of an OCP Who would, for free? Who wouldn't want to do that?
Hey, Council Broughton?
I feel perfectly comfortable, working in the spirit of what these funds are for, is to look for, informed ways of providing much needed housing. So, to me, that's.
A lot of latitude.
That's a lot of latitude, and it needs to be custom fit to Lions Bay.
100%.
So, I'm totally comfortable with you going ahead with
Okay,
that.
Councillor Abbott?
So my comments were a little before I understood we've got an extension. So we have a year's extension. Okay, so my first question was going to be, did we do a report in 2024? I'm assuming we didn't. And now we have to do one in 2025. And then if you look on page 55, there's a whole list of suggested things that you could do with this money. I don't think you need to be very creative at all. You can actually do a lot of stuff, I think, we've just done. Some of these zoning bylaw revisions, for example, are all on this list. We could have done it. So we could be charging some of the money we've already done. Not really. Well,
Wait till staff comes back.
Okay, I think
Okay, sorry,
we're discussing whether we want staff to look at this, come
Yes.
back to council with.
Can I
Yeah.
just finish? I wasn't about done. Okay, so I think the stuff here we could have used up on in the past, but sure, staff will come back and tell us. There are also things on here that we've been trying to do for a while, or that need updated, that have been discussed in other groups like the IC committee. It says infrastructure master plans. We've been trying to get that updated, and we haven't done it because of staff resource shortages and lack of funds. Asset management plans or strategies, we've done 2 versions, the first 2 kind of modules, lack of a better term, for asset management. We can update that. It goes on to talk about feasibility studies for water. I don't think we need that anymore.
Yeah.
Stormwater surcharge. So there's a lot of things here that we could do outside of just the OCP. I would be surprised if we could not spend $155,000, given the numbers we get told what it costs to revise or rewrite a bylaw.
Okay, motion to refer to staff.
And we
Yes.
include all the things on this list.
Okay,
The desired comeback of.
Blackwell.
Timeline, you mean, next year? But what I would propose is that we bring this to a committee of the whole to sort of massage and work through some of these details.
So
Delivery January.
Yes, January, somewhere, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Councillor Abbott?
So this grant asks you do a report every year at the end of the year. We didn't do one in 2024. 2025 is the last year. Surely we have to do a grant, do a report this year? We're not just going to get an extension without doing a report.
Mr. Chirikoff?
So the report's due February 26th of next year. For the current year, the report was filed in the previous year, because we didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So a preliminary filled out report, I have reached out to the province regarding an extension. They said it's fine, you just let us know what your plans are. And so it's.
So to clarify my question, so the report period end date is the 31st of December.
Yeah.
The report's not due.
Not till
In February.
February.
I still think we should try to put some of the money we already
Okay,
spent.
all in favor of referring to staff
Yes.
reporting back in January?
Yes.
Yeah, opposed, motion carried.
Sorry, if I may, I had Councillor Bowman as a mover, who was.
Councillor McLaughlin, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, with that, we'll move to action items on the log. Any items that would councillors would like to discuss?
Jeremy, on me.
Yeah, Councillor McLaughlin?
The bottom one, which is 263, which we've asked the CAO to come back on the DCCs. I think given the season and his busy plate, could probably push that off for 60 days.
Okay, any other items, Mr. Blackwell?
That's on your agenda tonight. Under item,
On the agenda.
It's all rolled up into that same report.
under 10.1.5.
Okay. Any other items councillors like to pull?
I'd like to ask a question about something that I thought was on the list and I no longer see. So council asked that the snow removal policy come back to council. And it never has. And snow's going to start flying soon. Someone asked me about what happened to that, and I thought it was on the unfinished business log, but it's not.
Mr. Blackwell.
So to be clear, nothing's changed. How snow removal is done last year and the year before is the same as this year. We've just codified it. No change. It's identical.
At the end of the previous meeting, there was an agreement that it would come back to council.
For what purpose? Yeah, so I need direction as to what you want to
We'll
do.
have to go read the minutes. Okay, I remember when it was. Maybe Councillor Cunliffe can remember. Her name was used in vain around this.
Okay, perhaps staff could look at that and come back for next week's meeting. That might save us.
If I can,
Allow us to move forward.
I'm very leery of bringing this back because council then is opening up. We're moving into snow clearing season. You're opening up established practice and having a conversation around that. And that can destabilize the work that we have always done. We're not changing anything. We've just put it.
We had that discussion in the meeting.
Right, and so I'd be concerned that this, we're potentially left without a snow clearing policy.
Okay, unless there's a motion to be moved on here, I'd ask, is there any other?
If I may, I think that the concerns with the snow removal policy as written is just some of the language that is used that perhaps leaves some residents feeling that they are not on, it's of less importance, and it's not the procedural enough. So I'm not sure if there's a way that maybe we could have the public works manager come and just sort of explain the policy. We understand the policy. It's for insurance purposes. It's so we know we have a plan in place. But I think what the residents would be looking for is some sort of level of reassurance that every
Yes.
single resident is going to be treated equally regardless of their address in the village.
Okay, Councillor Broughton.
Yeah, I think it might be really useful if the public works man or the director of operations explained the process as he did in the meeting here, that there is no change, and he can do that in a more informal way in the village update.
Yes,
As he would normally.
That sounds like a great suggestion.
He would normally
Councillor
do. Just said, relax, everything will be fine, and it'll get out to everyone. And then otherwise, it's taken on sort of an unnecessary formality, and people are misinterpreting that.
Mr. Blackwell, you think?
No problem.
Can arrange
Happy
that?
to do that. Yeah.
Okay,
So
Councillor Abbott.
I'm going to beg to differ, just one last chance. There were things that came up that weren't consistent in the policy that I remember that needed to be cleaned up. So that's one aspect of it. And there was definitely a request that it come back for council to review. So I would really like it to come back to council at the next meeting. Public Works Manager, Director of Operations, I'll correct myself as well, can come and present it to us, hopefully with those couple of tweaks that were pointed out. I'd prefer to see it come back to council.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, do we need a motion to put it in the village update?
No, I'll put that. I think it's a good practice. More information is always better. Happy to do that and pursuant to this request, we can bring it back for further council deliberation, and Carl can present this. Again, this is an operations policy for staff. It's not for anything other than how staff does its work. Just to be clear on what it is. But we can bring that forward on the 9th.
Moving forward on the 9th. Okay.
Okay, any other items? Okay, with that, we'll move to item 10.1.1, electric fleet vehicles, report by the Chief Administration Officer. Mr. Blackwell, did you want to elaborate on that?
Could I, a suggestion before? Is it be okay? So there's been further correspondence today, CEO amongst others, from members of the Climate Action Committee. And reading between the lines in those emails, and correct me if you disagree, Ross, I thought there was an understanding that we really need to look at inputs from both the staff report and the Climate Action Committee's recommendations and expertise, and have one meeting where we can talk this out, rather than ping pong these reports back and forth. I think council need to hear a full understanding of the issues, the strategy, the long-term view, all of that, before we go down a path and make a decision here, that potentially isn't, well, I won't review what the decision is. I have an opinion on it, but I'm not going to go. My suggestion is that we delay this to another meeting, and we get, and maybe even have a special meeting with the Climate Action Committee members.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell.
Yeah, thank you. Through you to Councillor Abbott. Yeah, that's totally fine. The only thing I'm gonna sort of protect is the conversation not devolving into sort of a discussion around our operational needs. The only people that really understand all of the moving pieces are staff. So long as the committee is prepared to talk about this at a policy level, what should the municipality be electrifying its fleet without specifying which vehicles, but as a policy, that's fine. But if it is which vehicles of our fleet should be electrified, which one shouldn't, I think that's way offside relative to a mandate of the committee.
Okay, any other comments by councillors?
And I'm happy to participate in a conversation around that, if that would help the committee.
There'll be a line to thread there. It's a very small workshop, not a lot of vehicles on it. Yes, there's a fine line to walk. We would have to do that.
Okay. Everyone satisfied? Good, we'll move to the next item.
Besides that, there's gonna be more discussion. I think
Yeah,
that's very,
more
So,
very,
so what is the
will be
what is-
very helpful.
what is the next step then?
Okay, I would say the next step
I'm
is if
suggesting-
we're following in line with committees, the Climate Action Committee put forward a recommendation and we bring it to council and staff. And have a discussion, further discussion. Yeah.
Just need to clarify. So the Climate Action Committee sent a recommendation to council.
Mhm.
Council asked staff to review. Staff came back with another report that had a sort of somewhat contradictory, maybe wrong term, but a different sort of outcome. Climate Action Committee then sent something else today, because they haven't had a meeting since, or a member of the Climate Action Committee, let me correct that, asking that be part of the discussion. Now, what I'm suggesting is we get all of these documents together with staff, and maybe have a special Climate Action Committee, so we can have a committee of the whole type discussion about that. So we have people on the Climate Action Committee that have done fleet energy trans, what's the word I'm looking for the plan. Anyway, electrification plans for fleets. We have people that have experience in that. And I think it'll be valuable for the staff to understand that. And I think we can come up with a better plan.
Okay, Councillor Brown?
I'm wondering if, is this a committee of the whole discussion as such? Could we invite members of the Climate Action Committee that could best inform our discussion to a committee of the whole? Would that make sense?
Mr. Blackwell? Sure.
Absolutely, that's available to council.
Okay, good. Well, why don't you suggest that go on the next agenda, committee of the whole?
Can I
Yeah.
have a motion that directs staff to facilitate a committee of the whole for discussion with the Climate Action Committee? It doesn't have to be specific about what.
Okay.
Representatives,
Move it.
perhaps. It doesn't have to be the whole committee.
I'll move that.
Move second. Okay, Councilor McLaughlin second, Councilor Abbott moved. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, next item is 10.1.2. Council strategic priorities plan. And the motion is that the 2025 to 2026 council strategic priorities plan be adopted. Do we have a motion for that? Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second. Councilor Broughton. Discussion. All in favor?
I've got a few. Someone else has got. Oh, so this strategic plan, no, okay, now I'm fine.
All in
Strategic
favor?
priorities.
Sorry, before you do.
Yeah.
please take note of the fact that I took the liberty of crafting a message that I felt I tried to capture the sentiments of council as well as sentiments of the mayor. So if you could pay attention to those specific quotes and confirm that you're comfortable with those, and if not, amend them as you see fit. And then your strategic plan will be, this version of it will be done, I think, with great success. Should we tell you what pages?
65.
65.
Could I have, I'll take something off.
Yeah, Councilor Rowland.
Just something I noticed I'd like to talk about later.
Councilor McLaughlin.
You may not know this, Mr. Blackwell, but
It's a long story.
the face page was, which has, I believe, Mr. Ruggles sailboat and an illegal houseboat,
Yes,
which caused some problems at the time, and I
At
would
the time.
suggest a different face
I'm
page.
happy if I can proceed.
that's what I was trying to take offline,
Oh.
actually, but
Well,
yeah,
it's
but
going
thank
now.
you for taking it. It's online now. Yeah, that was.
Yes,
was quick.
thank you
Online.
very much.
The center.
We don't have very many good quality photographs to use. I
I
put
would
out a-
suggest you contact Lions Bay Arts. They have an enormous amount of a library of fabulous photos of the village that I'm sure they would be happy to share.
Thank you, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Or even you could even crop.
What's a low res picture? Not a great picture.
No, anyway. Okay. Or you could
Okay.
just block it in.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, all right, item
Sure whether we wanted to go
10.1,
there.
10.3, fees bylaw number 497. The motion is that fees bylaw number 497, 2016, amendment bylaw number 656, 2025 be read for the first, second, and third time. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Abbott. Discussion?
You want to talk?
Yes.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I had made a motion in July regarding the use of space in the community, and that motion was withdrawn from the agenda. But I think, and I'm not gonna make it's not an issue right at the moment, but I just think it's something that we need to reach out to the people who are actually using some of the spaces. There was a couple of things that came up, and I thought, gee, it might be really useful to, are the fees encouraging or deterring use of the space? And I don't know that, so I was interested in maybe getting some input from some of the renters of the space. We currently have an events committee. We don't, in effect, have a recreation committee as such. And I think there's kind of a role for best use of facilities, and it's maybe something that it's a committee of the whole kind of discussion, but it's come out of my reading of the fees bylaw. I just want to make sure that the community facilities are used to the absolute maximum that they can be, as effectively as they can be, as reasonable and with as reasonable cost as possible. And I think, we're pretty much achieving that. But is there, we can always do better, I think. So it's, I support the fees bylaw, but I just think that it will be helpful to maybe talk about, I think there's a couple of programs, I think, that have not been able to continue because they found the fee structure prohibitive, because they couldn't rely on having enough attendance. I think one of them was the yoga program. I don't know, I don't know all the details, but I just think there's some questions that can be asked. So,
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah.
Councilor Abbott?
On a similar vein to what Michael's talking about, we used to have a $25 a day rental, and that seemed to got changed last year. One version back of this, that was allowed where residents as long as it was open to all, only got charged $25 a day. So it was an open session and it was organized and run by a resident. And it gave a lot of flexibility for these kind of groups that Mike was talking about. And we've got to keep in mind that these are people that already pay for this all with their taxes, directly, I guess. But so there should be a difference between them and people from outside of the community. Because they pay for this facility. It should be easy for them to use. And I think this $100 a day that it now is, where there is no differentiation for that kind of group, is, I think, punitive, to be honest. We've introduced this not-for-profits and break-even-for-profit grouping. I'm not sure what a break-even-for-profit grouping is, but I guess we can be somewhat flexible and allow staff's decision to pick on, to decide on that is what that is. And then other than that, it's a commercial. So this is someone that's not part of the community. It's not a community event, and it's $350 a day. I think that is kind of prohibitive, kind of expensive, not prohibitive, but expensive when you compare to other facilities on the North Shore. I think the going price is $250 to $300, I'm told. But my main concern is this minimum $100 a day for anything over 4 hours. It doesn't allow for those small groups of residents doing kind of art things or whatever they used to do in the hall.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell?
Thank you. So I hear where council's going. It's very difficult with something like this for staff to be able to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
In fact, it's impossible. Staff do their best. So with regard to this, staff surveyed facilities all over the North Shore to try to figure out what they did. Look at sort of Lions Bay. On one hand, you could make an argument that, given the number of residents here, why not just make it free? On the other hand, then you say, well, who pays for cleaning the facility and all that stuff? So staff can't solve that question. We have no answers for those questions per se. What council might want to consider to sort of wrestle this down in a more meaningful way is in the new year, establish a select committee, to your point, recreation fees select committee, and invite a certain number of members of the community, establish a number, and have a conversation about all of these issues. Staff could sit on that to talk about some of the administrative practical considerations, and that group can weigh all of this information and make a recommendation to council. And then you've got about all the information you can get on the issue, and then presumably feel comfortable with whatever decision you choose to make.
Okay, Crystal?
If I may, I think that CAO Blackwell has an excellent suggestion. There are circumstances in the industry I work in where there is a significant difference between a resident and a non-resident rate, and that's well established. So there is precedent for resident versus non-resident rates, but bringing the community into the conversation would be the best start point, and meeting the needs that way, because not every group is organized. It's going to come with a delegation and seek grant funding for use in kind. It might be an ad hoc situation, and we do need to be flexible and look at accommodating that. So I would be very on board with staff suggestion. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Councilor Clement.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say that we spent a significant amount of time, myself, municipal accountant, and the two administrators, going over different groups. And as you know, this fees bylaw was just recently adopted, but it's come back because it hadn't been changed in so long. So there was a couple bumps when a few groups walked in the door and said, hey, this is what it looks like for us now. So we took that opportunity to look at it again. And as mentioned, we spent a significant amount of time evaluating the previous costs, what's going to work for the community. To your question, Councillor Abbott, regarding break even, those groups, there's not many, maybe even just one. It's basically groups that are hosting things for the community, and they are charging, but they're not necessarily making money, and they're offering community type programs.
Yeah.
So like Music Together would be an example for that. So like I said, we did a lot of sort of Rubik's Cube of what would apply to each group and wanted to really try to make it fair and to not make it prohibitive. So I just wanted to communicate that we were trying to, everything that I'm hearing at this table, we were really trying to keep all of that in mind. So,
That's great.
but I think the suggestions are good. And if you didn't notice, the $100 a day rate, that is unchanged from the last adoption, when this was adopted, I think last month or the month before. But we did actually change the hourly rate. You can now rent it for just an hour, not a minimum of 2 hours. So that should make a difference for quite a few groups, make it very accessible.
Mhm. All right, well, thank you for that background, really appreciate that. Councillor Bowden?
Yeah, just to emphasize that there was absolutely no criticism in that. It was, and really appreciate the work that went into it.
Okay, call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, next item is 10.1.4. The motion on the table is that council direct staff to initiate development of an active transportation and network plan and authorize staff to apply for and accept TransLink's cost sharing contribution.
Did you want me to introduce this?
Yes.
So some folks may know what an active transportation network plan is, some may not. In a nutshell, this is about the community assessing its ability to use other than vehicle transportation. So this is about walking, et cetera, the full gamut. And issues like connectivity, issues like safety, and so on and so forth. They TransLink have offered to cost share with this at 50%. They have indicated that they are doing this a special favor. In doing so, they typically don't offer funding for this, but they're prepared to do so in this case, given our commitment on other sort of active transportation projects that council are aware of already. The benefit of undertaking a plan and having a plan in place is that when the WIT funding and the big funding comes forward, we are more quickly and effectively able to pivot with essentially shovel-ready projects, and we don't want the shelf-ready ones. We'll be able to utilize those funding opportunities with greater degree of efficacy. So this was something that was emergent as of late last week. So I thought I would put this on the agenda for council's consideration and direction.
Okay, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, and then we'll have discussion. A move by councillor Bowden, seconded by councillor Abbott. Discussion. Please raise your hand. Councillor Abbott?
My concern with these opportunities is they do come with commitment for something that happens next. I mean, whether they're firm or not, you don't spend $75,000 to come up with a plan and then not do anything else. And those other plans you referred to, the walking and biking one, also not 100% grants. That's also the 75s. So we've got to bear in mind in committing a serious amount of money. This $37,500 is not on our budget. So if we do this, we've got to go back and approve another $37,500 in our budget. But then I think when we're doing that, we need to think about not just spending that much money, and I see that it could be less. It could be 25,000, could be between 40 and 50, but maximum 75. I know that. But whether it's 25 or 37.5, it's still a bit of fair chunk of money. But I might think of other things I personally think would be better spent on. But we're also reading one. Then we're going down the path of other bigger projects where we're going to be paying 25%. So then we think of it from that point of view. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Through you to Councilor Broughton. Councilor Broughton sort of touched on what I was going to clarify.
Phil, you call me Councillor Abbott if you must call me.
What did I call you?
Brown.
Councillor.
Gee,
I know it's a hair.
wow. I didn't even realize I was doing that. Sorry. Councilor Abbott covered off sort of what I was going to talk about, sort of clarify, which is the expected upset amount associated with a project that size. We're still fill in one little blank. Right now, with the funding we get, we're sort of having to react in not the best or strategic way with the money we get. So if we had a plug and play sort of model that council could consider when funding comes available, does council want to move on this funding, do project A, B, or C, or none of the above, et cetera? You have a bit of a blueprint for that purpose. That's because right now what we're doing is scrambling. We've been able to utilize this last pocket of money, as you know, for connectivity down to the beach park. But
Access to the water. Key.
absolutely, but there would be helpful if you know where I'm going to have a bit more of a roadmap. There's conversation with TransLink with regard to this. They have no expectation with regard to any commitments beyond developing the plan is, their sort of metric for success.
Okay, any other comments?
Sorry,
Just before.
I had
Lonnie.
I'd want to.
Yeah, just asking if any other councillors want to speak, and then we'll come back to you. Any other councillors? No? Okay, Councillor Abbott.
Question, I just read this, staff proposed that the municipal portion be funded through the Community Works Fund? What is that? I've never heard of it.
Blackwell.
Thank you, through you to Councillor Abbott. That is a funding mechanism, pocket of money, purse of money. How, I don't know the details of it. Mr. Cherkoff would know the specific details as they apply to this municipality, but the Community Works Fund is an established,
So that's an external grant application?
it's external money from the province of BC, yeah.
Oh, so potentially this could cost us nothing.
Well, we gotta see. The
Okay,
goal is-
Councillor McLaughlin.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more report back on that, because that of course changes everything. Thank you.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. I'm very cognizant of the work the CAO's got before him and additional projects, so I'm taking that his recommendation means that he does have time to fulfill this opportunity, and your estimate is it'll cost less than they're 37, our 37, so you're thinking this will be 40, and it basically is our little pre-punch card for when the next big opportunity comes by and you go to the shelf and pull it out.
Blackwell.
Thank you, through you to Councillor McLaughlin. My expectation on this one is that should this prove out and this be a viable project when we sort of work through the details to submit on something like this, then my expectation is this would be a perfect handoff for the new Director of Operations. This is right in his wheelhouse as a professional engineer.
Okay, with that, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll move to item 10.1.5, municipal planning overview. Mr. Blackwell, I'll pass it over to you.
There's not a lot more I can say. Council asked for a bit of clarification around the mechanics of certain tools and so forth, so I took the opportunity to flesh that right out and discuss a number of matters that have been question marks for certain council members at various times. It's comprehensive, took a very long time to write that, but hopefully it can be a bit of a go-to document when it comes to those core planning issues. Not least of which, because should an OCP process launch at some point in the future, this can sort of help provide some structural background knowledge.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Blackwell? Councillor McLaughlin?
Thank you very much, Mr. Blackwell. I apologize for my early comments on giving you some more time to do this. I forgot what excellent reading this was, and I was thinking of DCCs, and I think you only used it twice, and the whole time you preferred to call them CACs. That being said, as I understand this off our last conversation, that should an opportunity occur or a subdivision occurs, that's entirely within your bailiwick. You don't come to council. It's when there's something unusual, such as when you're going vertical, that you do need to come to council, and the fees at that time would be negotiated.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yeah, thank you, through you. Yeah, vertical over a certain height.
Yep.
The existing zoning bylaw.
Yep.
Stipulates minimum lot sizes, various
Yep.
other things, and height. And so anything, if somebody wants to do something above that height, it's either a variance.
Mhm.
After a certain point, it becomes not a variance, it's about rezoning.
Rezoning.
What is the hard and fast line? It's when the use really changes. But beyond that, there's a world of gray that's not easy to define, but with regard to your reference to the subdivision approval process, you nailed it. It's a separate statutory
Mhm.
process. DCCs and CACs are not the same thing. They're different things. DCC is a DCC, development cost charge, is established by bylaw. It has to be vetted by the province. There's a fairly complicated calculus that goes with the development of the DCC numbers. Typically, you would a community would consider implementing a DCC bylaw where it experiences significant development.
Mhm.
So DCCs can be collected in a number of ways. The easiest is to say for every new single family residence constructed through subdivision, there's a DCC amount. There's typically a lesser DCC amount for multifamily residential. So if single family is, let's say, $25,000 a unit, multifamily might be $18,000 per door. So that's the difference. CACs are negotiated with the developer through the rezoning process. They're community amenity contributions. So if, let's say, somebody came in and wanted to do a 50-acre development and bring, I don't know, 400 new homes, well, that's gonna have an impact on things like fire, roads, sewer, water. They need to pay those costs, not the taxpayer. And so the DCC bylaw covers off some of those things, but it doesn't cover off things like daycare centers, etc. So that's where a community amenity contribution can be negotiated with somebody coming in wanting to do something major like that. Not likely for Lions Bay.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Blackwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, I lots of questions, and it would probably be a good time to some other time we're going to refer back to this. I was going to suggest we have a bit of a workshop on it.
Great idea.
But if not, we'll just refer it on.
Workshop.
You want to do a workshop? But just touching on the one topic that's come up, subdivision. So you can approve subdivision. We'll get that. You have the authority to approve subdivisions as long as they comply with the OCP, comply with our zoning bylaw.
Primarily zoning, yeah.
Primarily zoning, but zoning has to follow the OCP.
You should do.
Not quite as firm a line, but yes.
No, you're right.
Okay, it does, but the intent of the OCP, zoning bylaw has to follow the intent of the OCP, so therefore it's other subdivisions. Now, as our current zoning bylaw says, you can only subdivide to property that is a minimum of 8,000 square meters, 7.2. A few years ago, 2 terms back, council added 7.3 that said, with contribution of a CAC, you can actually subdivide to a smaller size, an average of 800 square meters, 10th the size. But council's understanding, and it refers to the CAC policy, with the CAC policy. Council never approved the CAC policy, never got to that. So we don't have a CAC policy. So that means section 7.3 can't be used, correct?
Correct.
So any subdivision that you do now would have to be to 8,000 square meters.
Whatever the bylaw says, yeah.
8,000 square
With
meters.
regard to every aspect of the bylaw.
So it's not, so what I just want to make sure that we understand, I've got this right. Because we don't have a CAC policy that's referred to, it goes back to the higher step, which is the first clause, 7.2.
Mr. Blackwell?
Thank you. Through you, yeah, if it's not in place, then it's what exists, it's not what doesn't. But if a CAC, so what I would tell you is that's a problematic provision. and this is an example of one of the things that council should reconsider. Are there better ways of the community achieving its goals? CAC is a really clumsy way of, you're not really gonna get anything. It would be better to introduce a DCC bylaw to capture money from roads and water and sewer, and this sort of thing. And it would be better to, if council was so inclined to want to consider a CAC policy to provide the negotiation framework, I don't think that would be a bad thing, but I would do it separately and I would tie it to multifamily residential. So where could that exist? Well, very few places in the community. Potentially, the multifamily that currently exists here is an example. If somebody wanted to come and do something new, knock all that down and rebuild something else, CAC policy would help in that negotiation. Whether or not, I would say this, whether or not there's a CAC policy, planner would negotiate that anyway. But it's better to have that defined. So that's an example of something that council could absolutely consider adding to a strategic priorities list, because it's something that really should be dealt with sooner than later.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to wrap it up.
Yeah, so this will
And
be,
then we'll move on.
certainly. The question was more where we stand currently. So you said previously that you had a whole bunch of subdivisions, on your desk, or can't remember how you referred to it. I know ones in the past that have come in past terms. I can't think of one that can achieve an 8,000 square meter lot size. And that is our current situation until we sort out the CAC, correct?
It's whatever the bylaw says. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Okay, thanks for the information, Mr. Blackwell. I think a workshop or committee of the whole, flesh it out further would be wise. With that, we'll move on. Okay, item 10.1.6, 2024 annual report draft. For information, Mr. Blackwell, any comments before we open it up to questions?
I'm happy to say that this will bring us back in lockstep with our schedule. So our audit now will be done on time and on budget. And our 2025 annual report, barring anything unforeseen, will be on time again. So we're back in the saddle with regard to this. There's one sort of weird anomaly that I will point to, and that's around the police statistics for this year. They're not consistent with the year-over-year stats provided thus far. We've worked with the RCMP as closely as we could to see how we could align those things. We can't for the purpose of this. So that's gonna necessitate a deeper conversation with the RCMP, so we can restructure how we can develop reliable year-over-year reporting metrics, so we don't fall into the situation where we can't compare apples to apples. Part of the reason is they only record certain information and not other information. I don't think that's always been the case, but that's the case for this reporting period. That's the only anomaly.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Blackwell? Yeah. Councilor Abbott.
Few suggested clarifications. Page 49 is all the committees.
149.
No, 149, thank you. Emergency Program Committee, I think you've put in the 2025 report. Councillor McLaughlin was not a councillor in 2024, so that's from the 2025 report, nor was Mary Brown, the EPC. Opposite problem on the Climate Action Committee one. This is the 2023 report, hasn't been updated. I did send staff the update, but it didn't get in here. If you need it resent, let me know. And then going forward on page 151, once again, the Beach Park Committee, this is the 2023 report. I think some of these weren't updated, but if they weren't updated and they ceased to be, they should just be deleted, not carried over.
Mr. Blackwell.
Thank you. So yeah, I reached out to all of the chairs, and this was the information I got back. So I'm happy to amend this as necessary.
So on the CSE one, I've sent it to you, you just missed the email or something.
Yeah, I thought I included that, but
You got it.
I'll go
You
back.
got that.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
go find that one.
Yeah.
I sent you the other one, but yeah, maybe Michael can speak to the beach park and the other ones. I think they should just be deleted.
No.
No?
Okay, Michael.
No, the
Councillor
the beach part rolled into 2024, so it wasn't active later in 2024, but it definitely existed into 2024.
Okay,
Okay, well,
any
then,
other comments?
well, then you should just update it and correct it, because I was not on the beach park. It says until April 2023.
Okay.
It talks about things changing in 2023. So this is clearly last year's report.
Yeah.
And then someone can look at some of the other groups and entities that are lower down. I don't know if they still existed in 2024. But anyway, it's enough. It's my comment.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell.
So here's my ask. For the 2025, when I send out an email, I get timely responses on this, so we don't run into this sort of problem in the future. Is this okay?
Fair enough.
Through the chair, can I just remind the
Yeah,
CEO that I gave you both 2024 and 2025, so he's already got it.
Okay, all right, I think he's asking all of council as a whole. Okay, thank you for that. And with that, we'll move on to 10.2.1 Climate Action Committee. There's a report. Councillor Abbott, any further comments?
I don't have any further comments to that. I'm happy to take some comments. It was just a year-end review that was done
Okay.
through the committee. This was authorized through the committee.
Okay, councillors, please raise your hand if you have any questions. Councillor McLaughlin.
It's no questions, and it's a very impressive team that's here, and it's a very impressive bunch of deliveries they've done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? No, thank you very much for that, Councillor Abbott. With that, we'll move to 10.3, and the first item is that which was moved from closed to open. And the recommendation by Councillor Abbott was a motion that council direct chief administration officer and mayor to disclose closed meeting records to all council members, including agenda packages, reports and minutes, as well as correspondence arising from closed meeting decisions. We have a mover for that.
My motion.
Councillor Abbott. Move. Okay, second.
Second.
Councillor McLaughlin. Okay, Councillor Abbott, did you want to speak to the motion?
No, as discussed earlier in close, I'm not going to be speaking to it. I want it read as written. I'm happy to call the question.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Broughton.
We have we were going to reconsider another motion. Was that not going to? That would be after this? Oh, okay, wasn't clear. Okay. No, okay, I'm fine.
Okay, just so I clearly understand, this is the chief administration officer sharing information with council members that have been discussed and closed. Would there be any needed amendment to prohibit anything that legal counsel may advise against or subject to legal? I'm trying to think of what we might add on to that, just so that we don't cross our council's recommendations.
Thank you. My recommendation on this resolution is to keep it simple. This is standard practice. This is what's done normally. If there was ever a situation where there was a question mark about sharing any sort of information, then of course, in my role as corporate officer, I would seek guidance from our legal representatives if that were necessary, and then I would report that to council as a whole. So I don't think that this precludes any of that from happening, nor does it change current practice or established practice. So it's fine as it is.
So it's stating normal, the current practice.
Okay, any other comments, Councillor Abbott?
Through the chair, it reads chief administration officer and mayor. That's not how you read it out that way, but not how you spoke to it.
Sorry, read it out as.
You read it out correctly in the recommendation. When you were speaking to Ross now, you dropped the and mayor part. Just want to make sure it's chief administration officer and mayor.
I can read it again if you'd like.
No, you don't have to. I'm happy with the way it was read.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next motion on the table is that staff conduct a 30-day rolling review of closed minutes and reports and bring forward items for public release. And in brackets, with redactions where lawful, and in brackets, once confidentiality is no longer required. Do I have a motion for that? Okay, moved by Councillor Broughton, second.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Cunliffe. Discussion. Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, no, all in favor, Councillor Cunliffe, Councillor Broughton, Mayor Barry, opposed, Councillor McLaughlin, Councillor Abbott. Okay. Sorry,
Thank you.
okay, next item, 10.5 was duplicate, so that's crossed. We'll move right to correspondence. And any items in correspondence, councillors wish to pull out, discuss?
Yeah, I have a few on correspondence duty and it won't take long, I can assure you.
Okay, maybe give us a page number so we can all.
It's just where's the page? Wait, reaching for it, 1 second. It is on page bottom 207. Okay, so there's no resident correspondence, it's all external ministerial correspondence. The first one's about from the social planning committee, about accessible parking. So it's accessible parking month, and they've asked that we do a review. Well, they've asked us to acknowledge accessible parking and the reasons for it and why we should have it and all the rest of it. But if you read in the report, I thought it would be a good idea if our staff go have a review of all our accessible parking and make sure it's all, up to scratch, or where can be improved and so on. And if you read the actual recommendation, there's also a grant available to do it for $25,000. So what I would like to request is a staff report next week. Maybe it's just a quick bylaw review and we don't need to do anything. We don't want to apply for the grant. Or maybe come back and say, yeah, we think we'd like to apply for this grant.
Mr. Blackwell, any comments?
Well, my dad's card's pretty full. I'm trying to squeeze that in. It's a separate piece of work.
So my suggestion is that one of the other staff members just do a drive around review of our current situation and decide whether it makes any sense to go forward and apply for this grant, or come back and say, we're all good.
Fine, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell.
So let me speak to council as an urban designer. Given the reality of an aging community like Lions Bay, there's a dearth of accessible parking, I can tell you. And I think it would not be a bad idea to take a run at this and figure out, who knows what can be done, but it would at least be worthwhile assessing.
So can I help you out? You've got until March 2026. I just read the rest of it. That's the deadline. Does that change what you're about to say?
Mr. Blackwell.
No, that's good to know. But there's a bigger issue here that this can elegantly dovetail into, and dovetails into something that Councillor McLaughlin has been talking about, which is a bit of more of a parking study. So both of these things can be consolidated. And what I might think about doing with regard to this is tapping the new director of operations on the shoulder to take a run at this, but in his. So I think it's a great idea. We've got to figure it out. And writing a report between now and Friday for next week's agenda may be a tall order. Well, my recommendation is to go for it. If we don't need to spend the money, we don't spend it now.
Councilor McLaughlin, have your hand up.
Thank you very much. I would be putting forward a resolution for parking plan in January. I can see this being part of it, and council can opine at that time. It's better fleshed out.
Okay, second,
Good with that?
okay,
Just
Councillor Broughton seconded,
Sorry, what's the motion?
motion was put forward a parking plan.
Well, let's see, before it's on the table, that's impressive, I like that. How about, well, I'll build this into the parking plan. Thank you.
okay, so what did we've agreed to do a new parking plan?
No, I'm putting forward a resolution to talk about a parking plan, and this would be part of it.
All right,
Okay, that,
Just for clarification, just I want to clarify what I heard, is that staff be directed to come back.
Yes, this is,
yeah,
Parking
yes,
plan
yeah,
and
no,
2026, and that
this may be part of
staff
it.
also assess whether the social planning and research council DC funding envelope can be utilized
Yes.
for accessible parking.
Now, that sounds like a resolution.
Is that what I
yes,
heard?
I
Mr. Chair.
heard that. Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, any other items?
Just like the deputy corporate office is
Yeah.
struggling here.
Yeah, hang on just a second here.
this is also meshed nicely with the active.
Yeah.
You okay? Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
Just very briefly, does it kind of link in with the active transportation plan as well? In terms of, parking in order to ride a bike, in order to do whatever, that kind of thing. I think they all kind of fit together. It's not an emotion, it's just an observation.
okay. Any other items?
yeah, I'll just be really quick. There's an item from MLA George Anderson about Professional Reliance Act. We've dealt with that.
Yeah.
The next item, Natalie Grollo,
Yeah.
Conservation Director, BC Marine Strategy. I'd like to take that to the CAC on the same lines as we did with John Robb before, and see if there's anything there that kind of works with what we are planning going
Okay,
forward.
Councillor Broughton, you
Can I
have your hand
speak to
up?
that too? I reached out to Ruth Simons regarding and just for her input, but I haven't spoken to her as yet. But just in terms of how this jives with the goals of the Hub Sound Community Forum and so on. So I think it's a little bit, I think it's premature for us to write a letter of support. I think these groups need to
Yeah, and then we
understand.
we agreed that we were gonna get John to sort of coordinate that for us, so that's what I was planning on taking it to him.
Perfect, yeah, and we're on the same page.
All right, any other letters?
No, the other ones, there was a few more about the Professional Alliance Act from other mayors that are clearly strongly against it.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that everyone who wants to have an opinion has read them all. And I'm comfortable that we took the right approach and read everyone else's opinions.
Okay, all right, we'll move on to new business. Any new business? None? Okay, public questions in the gallery? No, online? Crystal?
Yes, Norm, Barney.
Okay, Norm, you have the floor.
Hey, folks, thanks for your time. Through the chair, I'd just like to briefly address council with a piece of information that might help inform some forward-looking decisions. Through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the Green Municipal Fund has opened up a new program, Municipal Fleet Electrification. Its aim is to reduce costs and modernize fleets with funding for various types of zero-emission vehicles, including battery electric, plug-in hybrid electric, and hydrogen fuel cell. There's two streams to this grant program. One of them is a fleet transition study, essentially 80% paid because we're a small community. That would allow us to have an objective look at our fleet and see what can be done. It's sort of a techno-economic study that could tell us if it's even feasible or if there's something we can do there now or down the road. And the second fund, which is the first fund, pardon me, is up to $200,000 for a study. I would argue for a community of our size, it's probably a much smaller amount to do that kind of study. The second stream is a capital fund, and it funds projects up to $10 million, including vehicles and charging infrastructure. So it's just something to keep in mind, and just something I was hoping I could put on to council's radar. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Norm.
Okay, any other speakers, Crystal? No, okay, with that, council will be moving into closed, back into closed, so, motion to move into closed. Okay, moved by Council Broughton, second by Councilor Abbott, all in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Thanks, Crystal. Okay, we'll just take a
5 minutes.
few minute break.
Sure.
5 minute break.